Did you ever spend any time tagging in Japan?
Oh, yeah, with Bob Orton. Bob Orton I tagged with a lot. Me and Duncan went over there first. I tagged with Booker over there. Tagged with Booker in Japan and Korea. But then Bob Orton was my tag team partner over there. I mean, there was a guy who was main event at WrestleMania 1, and all of a sudden I'm his tag team partner. That's when Bob famously asked me, if you know the story, it's famous. If not, you don't care. He says, "Hey, kid, some of the things you do is good." He goes, "Some of it makes no sense." He goes, "How long you been working?" And I said, "A few months, sir." He goes, No, not how long you been in Japan. How long you been working?" I said, "A few months, sir." He goes, "The fuck are you doing here?" So I said, "I have no idea. I got booked because Kendo Nagasaki saw me in Texas, and he thought I'd been working for years. He knew Brad Reigans had trained me, who had this great name. So I get booked in Japan way before I'm ready. I had no business being over there. Thank God I'm with Bob Orton. And Bob then started taking me to the mats before the shows, and he showed me sugar holds and hook holds and things like that. So get me through the night. He explained to me how they're blowing me up. And then, they wouldn't, I was this big young kid. And so there's no reason for them to try me right off the bat. They'd blow me up and then just stretch me, beat me up with chairs and everything. So Bob would show me how they were doing it, how they were blowing me up. And then by the end of the tour, I'd figured it all out. And all thanks to Bob Orton. We were there one day, and Bob says, "I'll see you in a couple of days, kid." And I said, "What do you mean see me in a couple of days?" He goes, "I can't go to that island." And I said, "What do you mean?" We're going to like somewhere like Shikoku, the easterly island or something. There's 4 islands, Honshu, Kumamoto, and Hokkaido up north. I think we're going to Shikoku. I think that's where it was. It was an easterly island, but I think it was Shikoku. And I said, "What do you mean you can't go to an island? You can't go to the whole island?" He goes, No. I got a mafia hit on me."
Wait. What does that mean? Are you saying Yakuza? What?
Yakuza put a mafia hit on Bob Orton Jr. You heard that 100% correct. So Bob is there. He's had a little to drink one night. And, Bob was a tough, salty dude. Bob didn't start fights, but Bob wouldn't back down from nothing. And some mafia guy smarted off to him, and, drunk and all it was. And Bob slaps him. Apparently slapped the piss out of him. Enough that he got a mafia hit put on him. Bob Orton Jr. had a mafia hit put on him. Yeah, 100%. And Orton was like, "I don't care. I'll go back. What are they going to do? Kill me?" I go, "Yeah, Bob, they might." But apparently that mafia in that area told Orton that he can't come back. And so we would drop him off at some little bed and breakfast, which imagine how boring that was. I mean, you had no English TV. You're at a place that nobody spoke English. We'd leave him there for a couple of days and come back, and there's Bob standing there with his bag, and we'd pick him up and go somewhere else.
Man, what a wild story.
I mean, when people talk about, hey, the times were wild in my day. I'll put some of these stories up against any of them. Bob Orton that man was legit. He was a tough dude. But yeah, he had a mafia hit put on him. He couldn't go to the whole island. We'd have to leave him in, I can't remember where it was, maybe in Nagoya. I can't remember where it was. It was a city on the coast, obviously, before we crossed over to the island, because Bob couldn't go there because the mafia said they'd kill him.
Well, we're talking about tag teams. There's been a tag team that has been synonymous for most wrestling fans here in America for, 40 years now. Did you ever tag or work against, rather, the Rock and Roll Express? Did you ever cross paths with them?
Oh, yeah. Me and Killer Tim Brooks tagged with them. I mean, talk about having a great heel, the perfect heel against the Rock and Roll guys. But I mean, Ricky and Robert were fantastic. I mean, fantastic. It was such an honor to work with them. Ricky tells a great story, and it's all 100% true. I hit him with a tackle coming off the ropes when I first worked with him. And understand, Conrad, I didn't know how to work. All I know, I mean, in Texas, everything was stiff, and I go to Japan, and it's stiffer. And so I'm working with Ricky and Robert, who were light as they can be, and I hit Ricky with a tackle. Excuse my cough. I'm dying. And then maybe my last show, I may not make it through, actually. I'm going to have Dave Silva be my only pallbearer. He's going to have to carry me by himself all the way to the grave. And I hit Ricky with a tackle, and I knocked him all the way through the ropes. So Ricky tells Robert, and he tells me this later. He goes, "Pull this big sumbitch off me." Ricky gets in the ring. He says, "Shoot me in." He goes, "Come in." And he didn't tell me what to hit him with. He punches me right in the mouth. And I mean, bam, right in the freaking mouth. Well, I know I've done something wrong, but I don't know what. I'm new to the business, and I've got this legend here that's obviously very mad at me, and I don't know why. And he just punched me right in the mouth. And I looked at him, and my mouth's bloody. And I said, what'd you do that for? Literally, that's all I said in the ring. And he goes, because I'm a dumb son of a bitch. He tagged Robert and got out of the ring.
Oh, my God. What a great story.
Yeah, he literally told Robert, pull this big son of a bitch off of me. He punched me square in the freaking mouth. And what am I going to do? Fight a legend? I knew I'd done something wrong, but I didn't know what it was. All I could say was, what'd you that for? Because I'm stupid. He tagged out. Ricky and Robert were awesome, man. They were God's gift to wrestling, man. They were so good.
That's what I wanted to ask you about is, they were branded at the time as being tag team specialists. The idea being, okay, there might not be the biggest guys in the locker room, but they're going to do quick tags and a lot of double team maneuvers. And they really innovated a new style. Of course, their series of matches with the Midnight Express just became absolute legendary matches. What was it that did you learn anything from working with the Rock and Roll Express? Or does it not transfer because the styles were different and the sizes were different? Or can you pick up something from a tag team like the Rock and Roll Express?
You certainly can pick up something from a tag team like that, but it's kind of like working with an Eddie Guerrero or Shawn Michaels. Just because you understand what they're doing doesn't mean you can replicate it. They're really good at what they do. So just because you think, okay, I know how they did that spot, you try to do the same spot, it just doesn't work as well because you're just not as good. And Ricky and Robert, to me, Ricky told me one day, and I love Ricky and his son, Kerry. What a wonderful young man. He told me one day, he goes, the difference between me and you? And I said, what? And he said, contract. And I said, yeah, you're right. Ricky and Robert made their huge name down in the Carolinas. And it's one thing I hate. You got a guy like Tommy Wildfire Rich. You got a guy like Ricky and Robert who made a ton of money for the day. But if they'd have been around the Attitude Era, they'd have made 5, 10x that. Just like the Attitude Era guys that are around now, they'd make, 5, 10x that. You hate it for Ricky and Robert. I know they do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of signings and a lot of stuff. Those guys should have been making millions somewhere. And they made, huge amounts of money for where they were. But as Ricky said, the difference was the contract. You wish those guys came along. You realize how lucky guys like me were to be there in the Attitude Era when The Rock and Steve got hot and our salaries were so much higher. You look at these guys like them and Wildfire, and man, there weren't hotter teams or hotter babyface in the country than those guys.
It is interesting to think before, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels came to the WWF and became the Rockers, in an alternate universe in say 1984, 1985, if Ricky and Robert had went to work for Vince, man, everybody's lives look a little different, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Steve Simpson, is part of the Simpson brothers. Their dad was the great promoter down in South Africa. Steve had a chance to go like at 86 or something like that to WWE. He would have been a mega star. But Fritz told him, he goes, you're my guy. I'm going to take care of you. You're a part of family. And Steve, I think, regrets to this day that he didn't go because, the world would change with that. Same with Ricky and Robert. It could have been a different dynamic. Those guys end up at WrestleManias, the first WrestleManias. Those guys they would have printed money. Not that they didn't make a lot of money where they were. They were the biggest stars there was. But in a bigger fishbowl, they'd have been huge.
What they never really had was the marketing machine behind it for all the merch and all that. Certainly they had a Rock and Roll Express t-shirt, but there were prototypes of action figures that were never released. And there was just a much bigger opportunity with the WWF outside of just selling wrestling tickets. And in Mid-Atlantic, that's what they were all about, man. They were selling wrestling tickets. But Vince had a vision that was bigger than that.